want to take just a moment to welcome all of you to this Strategic Prioritizing Advisory Group, and just to thank you for giving this time of commitment and investment of energy in this process that we're going to be using over the next couple of years as we determine the future of global missions here at the Cooperative Baptist Fellowship. I want to begin by asking you just to take a look at this logo that we have put together to give us a visual sense of what we're doing as we enter into this process. The logo simply says, "Embarking on a Spiritual Journey, Strategic Visioning for CBF Global Missions." This really is a journey that we're going to be traveling together. And as you sort of see the road there going around the mountain, you get the sense that we are coming from somewhere and we are going to somewhere. We've got a pretty firm grasp of where we've come from and all that has gone on in the past, the ways in which God has blessed us and used us in a variety of ways in missions around the world. We draw from that deep legacy and those who've gone before us as we move ahead. And we move toward a future that God has in store, and it's a future that takes a great deal of discernment on our part to determine what it will look like, what it will be. It requires us to pay a whole lot of attention to what God is saying to us and where the Spirit is leading us. So as we move ahead, we want this to be a spiritual process for all of us, a spiritual journey that will guide us as we move ahead. We have confidence that we're on a path that is divinely driven. God knows where we're going. God is at work already doing some significant things in the world, and we want to be part of what God is doing. And so we want to make prayer a significant part of this process. And I want to urge you to pray as I will be praying for you. And as you pray for me, together we'll move through this process and allow our prayers to support the work that we do together. This does demand some significant energy from all of us. It will dictate some of our time constraints in the future, and so I hope you will make it a priority as we move ahead. Prayer is indeed the key. I want to take just a moment to review where we are in this strategic prioritizing process. I think many of you were part of the Global Missions Strategic Plan that was put together in 2002 and 2003. I've heard a lot of positive comments about that process and how much energy you all had as you worked through that process. I heard a lot about the collaboration that you shared as you went through the process and how all the teams were involved. That's an exciting legacy in strategic planning that we build upon. You will remember in that plan that what was framed in the 2 or 3 years that we moved through the process was an identity statement for global missions, a mission statement, and then a number of core values to which we were committed. And I just want to review those quickly for you. Our identity statement in the original strategic plan says that global missions partners with churches and others in sharing the love of Jesus Christ to the most neglected peoples around the world. Our mission is to collaborate with churches and other groups to engage in holistic missions and ministries with the most neglected peoples in a world without borders. And then our values include being Christ-centered, being cooperative, being holistic, and being strategic, innovative, and responsive. Out of that strategic plan came a number of major initiatives and objectives. We were going to engage in partnership missions with local churches. We were going to focus our attention upon the most neglected people, and we were going to develop a global church planting awareness that would benefit both new CBF church plants and work among most neglected peoples. As I've looked over that strategic plan and over the operational plan that was put together, it's become clear to me that for the most part we have accomplished that plan. It's moved us forward and enabled us to do far more with it than we could ever have done without it. What we want to do now is move into the next stage of that planning, and we've been waiting for some time now as CBF has moved through a strategic prioritizing process. I just want to summarize that process and the direction of that strategic prioritizing that was just completed in 2008. In that process, we essentially recommitted ourselves to our CBF vision, to our CBF mission, and to our CBF core values. Our CBF mission statement, our vision statement, is to be the presence of Christ to one another and to the world. Our CBF mission is to serve Christians and churches as they discover and fulfill their God-given mission. Our core values include commitment to Baptist principles, biblically based global missions, a resource model, a biblical vision of justice and reconciliation, lifelong learning, trustworthiness, and organizational effectiveness. In the strategic prioritizing process that was led by Harriet Harrell, our previous moderator, we recommitted ourselves to those same vision, mission, and core values statements. And out of the process, we identified 3 priorities. These priorities are now a part of our process as we move ahead. We are going to make them integral to everything that we do in global missions because they have been adopted by the entire organization. There are 3 of them: interacting with the world community, honoring race, gender, and generations, and engaging missionally. Every one of these 3 priorities impinges upon what we do in global missions. We are reminded through them that our engagement in the world is to be carried out in a missional way, by which we mean that we understand every Christian to be a missionary of Jesus Christ in the world, and every church to be a mission outpost in that world. We want to honor race, gender, and generations as we move forward. And we want to interact with the world community by supporting the Millennium Development Goals, by expanding advocacy for human rights and religious liberty and social justice, and by developing a national framework to address poverty, particularly in the United States. We're going to be moving then through our strategic planning process in a way that takes seriously the commitments that we have made across CBF as a whole. We now want to talk a little bit about our plan process for 2009 to 2011. And what I want us to do in the time we have here is to become acquainted with appreciative inquiry as a process or a prism through which we do strategic prioritizing. To understand our commitment as global missions to the affirmative topic choice that the leadership team has put together. To learn about CBF's global missions strategic visioning process, and to review global missions commitment to that process for the next 9 months.